Oh no! It's morning!
And that means it's time for the Rotten Mournings
Podcast!
Best way to start your morning off.
Yes.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Rotten Mornings.
Hello, welcome.
Hello.
I'm Scott.
I'm Matt.
I'm Brandy.
I'm Grin.
I'm Carrie.
I am Jack's ruined childhood memories.
Yeah, I know that's right.
Well, guys, thanks for tuning in. Hope you
Yeah.
guys are having a great Rotten morning so far.
So far.
So far.
So, fart.
There it goes.
Just do it like Nike.
If
You guys are
enjoyed
full of
the morning so far, maybe we can help with that.
Wait, say again, Frankie.
I said you guys are full of popcorn.
Yes.
We have popcorn bellies.
And shit.
Lots of shit.
Well, that's delightful. Tell me
Give it
more.
Okay. So the other day.
She took it literally. Yay.
So what do we have in rotten news?
Wait,
Well, then.
shouldn't Scott ask what do we have in Rotten News? Because
Scott,
he never says
ask.
anything for Rotten News.
Ask us, Scott.
Hey Scott, what do we have for rotten news?
You're not Scott.
I don't know.
Scott's got COVID. That's Rotten News.
That's
COVID boy.
So you guys be sure to put a mask on your phones.
Yes.
Yeah, we're all probably infected already.
Yep.
well damn.
I feel a touch of the scarlet rubella coming on.
I feel dead. And how is that different from every other day? You're not wrong.
Well, should I just jump into the weather report then?
Hey, you know what? Let's start this episode with the weather report.
It's a raining
Tonight's weather report. I remember one late autumn evening, strolling along a leaf-littered road, the air just cool enough for a light jacket. I looked down and saw some seeds of an unknown plant thrown to the side of the street. This forgotten seed pod, cast aside like so many other autumn strolls of days past. The bliss drained from me. I wept. I wept because Grim missed her cue and did not scream podcast when prompted just now.
I'm falling! Oh,
Hey guys, I've been dealing with COVID all day, and that was the worst part of the day.
No!
Come back to us. All right, I'm going to Carrie.
See, because I totally just said podcast in that poem and you didn't scream. So, gotcha.
Well, she doesn't like to be prompted.
I told him to shut up. Your poem was so compelling. I was getting a boner over here.
I had a boner when I was writing it.
Yeah, I know. I was sitting on your lap the whole time. Duh.
These pages are sticky. There it is.
Ta-da! I like how you glitched out our live. There's a bit of rotten news.
So
we
let's-
had a live.
Let's start off with rotten news. Well, let's second off with rotten news. And we'll go all the way back to last weekend. We actually got our cartoon characters done by Good Stuff.
We did, and they are bad fucking
They are
ass.
bad
I
ass.
love them so much. You did so good.
Yes, I love them so much.
They're kick ass.
Yes.
So kick ass.
We're cartoons.
And as it stands right now, there is literally in existence one single bag of Rotten Bites popcorn. One bag
I don't know
is
what you're
the
talking
only
about.
bag that
Only
exists
one.
in the whole world.
I don't know what you're
There
talking
is
about.
one bag of Rotten Bites popcorn.
That is
You
not a
just
thing.
dumped.
sticker.
That
You
is
just
not-
dumped some fake blood into a bag of regular popcorn.
You motherfucker! Who told you?
not a thing.
I put pieces of us in there. There's
It
like a little
doesn't
bit of my
exist.
foreskin in there.
Yeah, they like cut some of my elbow off
Yeah.
and my toes.
My
You
nose
guys
is in
need to
there.
stop.
All right. What else? What else do we have in news?
Well, on Thursday, you went where?
I went out to a adult
And I
Novelty
went to,
store.
An
I was
adult
there too.
novelty
Don't forget
store.
me.
Me and Graham went to an adult novelty store and dressed up and talked about
You
dildos.
dressed up
I dressed up.
and you were weird.
And Graham just recorded me talking about
Well,
dildos for
that
hours.
did happen, but that is not why you were there.
I
Hey,
was
when
there.
you walked in there, did they have like little sample trays with dildos on toothpicks for you to just, get little dildo samples?
Yeah.
Well, no, but Matt found them anyway. I don't know how.
Yes. I just brought my own toothpicks and I put them in the dildo. I took the dildos out of the boxes, put a toothpick in them, and set them on the counter. And I was like, "Oh, free samples! Don't
So-
mind if I do."
You are a
What lovely hors d'oeuvres.
For adults.
So we were actually
Yeah, it
out
was
there
Thursday.
filming the opening room for City of Chaos. I don't want to give anything away, but it was super, super fun. And those guys are awesome. And they have joined the roster of sponsors. City of Chaos is now an official sponsor of Rotten.
Woohoo!
Yay!
And yeah, Grim made cue cards. And
And held them up
we
and
got to work
everything.
with like a guy who had a real camera.
had a real camera.
I was not there, but I know all.
But
I
it was
was there.
super,
Always.
super fun. Then after that, on Friday night, we had the premiere of our new series, Rotten Remains.
Woohoo!
That's what
Yay!
I'm talking about.
I think it was really, really good.
Every
Like
one of
y'all
us-
want
We
to?
had
I think
hell
we
of a
each could say
premiere.
something about Rotten Remains.
We all contributed and we
Mhm.
were all there. We were all present and we all gave forth our best effort and I loved it. Yes.
And we had a hell of a watch party
We
for
did.
that
We
premiere.
did. It
like
was
30
fucking
to
bad.
40 people at one
Lots of
point.
people chiming in and chatting with us. It was great.
I feel like all of our series are fun to film, but I feel like this one was a little more fun than
It
normal.
seems like every time it's like a
Yes.
step more, step more.
So we all sat down and I feel like we all just kind of went at it.
Yeah.
It
And we get
wasn't
better and better.
too
We
much
definitely
overthinking.
had a
It was
blast
just jumping
filming.
into it.
Yes.
And Carrie tasted pee.
Yeah, it was delicious.
Scott, you want to say something about the episode?
Yeah, the episode was really good. The skits this time all kind of flowed together, and it was a really good job of editing. I like that everybody contributed, so everybody had kind of buy-in and had some say. But I think that the pacing on this one has kind of stepped up from previous episodes, so it had really good pacing where there's not too much in one spot, and then long segments of lulls. I think it was really good. I was really happy with it. I really liked the review from Blue Life.
Yeah. It's so funny. I want to point out a couple of things in that review. He kept saying, "This is the one thing that made me laugh," but he kept coming back on screen laughing his ass off. He also said, "I know Rotten Reviews is probably going to be like, oh, this is the nicest review you've done." And he was like, "Well, you made a shitty episode. What do you expect?" So I'm kind of led to believe that the better our episode, the more shit he talks.
And I've never heard him review our podcast, so I'm fairly certain he doesn't listen. But if anybody out there knows Blue Life and who we're talking about, you should send him this so we can now get a review of our podcast.
Yeah, I'd like to give a
Yes.
review of his review. It was like literally a 1 out of 10. I feel like he phoned it in. I felt like most of the time he was just laying in his bed,
Fangirling over Carrie.
fangirling
Yeah.
over Carrie. And
But he likes Scott and
Yes,
Nancy.
I
Scott
think
too.
personally that no matter what he does, he's not going to get laid by Scott. I mean, it's not going to happen.
I think it's funny how much he hates me. I don't say anything bad about Brandon. Ever.
No, he doesn't say anything
Brandon
bad
will
about me.
stab.
So,
Stab.
Frankie, you got something you want to say about the episode?
Yeah, I mean, I thought to me the best part was the reveal in the post credits scene that Grimm is actually Ghost Rider. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
And beyond that, no, I've got nothing else to say. I think we left it all on the camera there. So
Yeah,
I
agreed.
think it was really solid.
Can I just say that based on a couple of skits and the intro, this was the most Vanguard of anything we've shot in the last few
Agreed.
years.
Agreed.
And
I have
can't
no
even
clue what
say-
you're talking
I can't even
about.
say shot. I can say edited. That's what I'll say.
I don't know, like our shots were more epilepsy minor as we went back to those moving cams and all that stuff, not being like we're finding a better balance between movement and stagnant cameras, and I think that that's becoming more and more prevalent to me.
I really like it. I
We
love
need to get-
the way it all turns out. I love how we film together. I love how we each work with each other and together. It's fantastic. But best of all, in my opinion, is getting to see how it all came together in a finished product. It cracks me up watching our stuff.
Yes,
Yes.
we all flow so well together.
I'll also say this: there's a lot of times we hear people like reach out to us and like, man, y'all look like you're having so much fun. Man, I'd love to be there and do that. And a lot of the times I'll say like, yeah, it looks like that, doesn't it? But I can honestly say for this series, yeah, you would have loved to have been here and worked on this stuff that we worked on because it was fucking stupid fun.
It was.
And you can tell by the 8 hours of outtakes at the end of the episode.
Yes. Dude, you know
Something
when
else
I
blew
boiled
up.
it down, it was 4.5 hours of behind the scenes
It
shit
really
that I
was.
had to like watch every minute of to find the better stuff.
Well, okay, so for anyone who doesn't know, we're not usually very good at remembering to try to record behind the scenes stuff.
We have gotten better.
We've gotten
And
a lot better.
For this series specifically, we all kept reminding each other to have an extra camera on in order to get some of that extra stuff. Because a lot of our stuff, we only do 2 or 3 shots, and you might get a few outtakes from that. But most of the time, we take whatever we came up with, even if it wasn't what we were going for.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So having an extra camera running is how we really get those behind the scenes things. And we reminded ourselves a lot during this series, whereas we haven't done that in
Slash
previous
Graham
stuff.
reminded us all a lot. Thank God.
Yes, true.
Uh,
She definitely reminded us the most. But
But
for
I'll say
sure.
this: when it comes to me editing and the way I edit, like I love when we have like a fleshed out idea, but I also really love when we forget something and I have to figure out a way to make it work because that's just like it gets weird and esoteric sometimes, and sometimes it's just off the wall. And I fucking love how we have found a way to like manipulate this a lot better as a machine.
Well, we each have our own strong suits of what we remember, what we recall, what we grab, what we do, what we bring up. So I think that helps too.
And none of it feels like we're forcing anyone to do something they're not comfortable with. We've learned each other's strengths much
Yes,
better.
Yes.
I really liked that red sweater that Scott was wearing in the bloopers segment.
I agree. It was adorable.
Yes. Not really.
Scott,
So-
any comment on the red sweater?
Scott's dead. Scott died from COVID. Just let it keep running, Scott. Let it keep recording.
He just hung himself on his
Yeah.
No.
I hate that he is sick and not feeling well. That
Scott?
really sucks.
Please get better soon. I don't like when you're not feeling well.
Please.
Hey, Graham, that was really good. But if you could give me one more take of that, but with some emotion.
Oh God, just start it back over again.
That's all
and
the
ready, here we
emotion
go.
I can
Here we go.
muster.
And action.
Fuck you, Scott.
There you go.
Yay.
All right, so what else do we have in rotten news?
So the other rotten news, and this was kind of like came out of nowhere. Good Stuff came down and brought us what 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 new flavors.
That's some good counting.
Yes.
Which is why we are still on a sugar high.
Yes, we are.
Even though that happened yesterday afternoon.
Oh, and we wrote a song. Kettle corn sugar high. Kettle corn sugar high. Kettle corn sugar high.
Oh, God.
Gotta go, you go.
Stay tuned for the acapella rendition at this year's CreepyCon in Knoxville.
Yes.
Yes. We
And then
also
the
did a little bit
impending
of
lawsuit.
filming. We also did a little bit of filming with Good Stuffs prior to doing the Kettle Corn Live that we did.
So we've got about 4 skits ready already for
the next
episode of Rotten Remains. And we did a live tasting the popcorns, and the live fucked up halfway through because our phone overheated.
Yeah, this time it was mine, not Matt's.
And
So it was my fault.
We swapped out, but we had a fucking kick-ass turnout. Kick-ass.
Kick-ass.
We had a kick-ass
Kick-ass.
turnout for that. A lot of people saw it. A lot of people saw Remains. Like, a lot of people have seen a lot of our shit this week, and I love the shit out of it.
I haven't checked it recently, but even just a few hours after we did our premiere, it was already at like 130 views at that point in time. This morning it was even higher. So
it's fucking awesome.
Fucking awesome. I'm not banned on Facebook anymore.
And Grimm's not banned on Facebook anymore.
So I'm spamming everybody.
I've actually, confession time, guys. Like, I've just been paying people that I run into in Lowe's parking lot to watch our Rotten Remains episode. So that's
really,
probably
really, Frankie? Really?
Yeah.
You haven't gone the extra mile and got us that 1,050. Can't you reach a little deeper in those? Oh, man, I can't make that reference. But you know what I'm going to say, and get some of that money out of there?
You want me to go to a second Lowe's parking lot and get those people too?
Correct.
Okay, I got you. I'm
work scaring the shit out of Grimm right now.
So do we have anything upcoming in Rotten News?
Hey, we had a milestone this week where we hit over 1,000 listens on the podcast.
Say that again. You cut out a little bit.
I said we hit a milestone this week where we hit over 3,000 listens to our podcast.
That is fucking awesome. That is so fucking awesome.
I'm glad that you guys aren't around me all the time, because you would think I'm a complete psychopath. Like 1,000 of those were actually me.
We think that anyway.
Hold on. Let me back that statement up. Did you say we would think you're a complete psychopath because we had to be around you?
Well, yeah, I mean, listening to our podcasts over and over again, and interspliced with some Dolly Parton and some recordings of sheep being slaughtered. Yeah, I mean, I would think that would taint how you.
I thought you said Dolly Parton. Is that like an oxymoron?
Okay, whatever that means.
But yeah,
really, what does it
I
mean?
think somehow I managed to listen to the podcast like 15 times this week, and I didn't mean to. I just was like doing different promos for it, and so it would play, and I'm like, I only do that segment, and then it would just play, and I kind of enjoy listening to it, and I'm like, man, I've listened to this so many times this week.
Dude, I think the last podcast episode is up there with one of my favorites.
And hopefully we can carry this one, because this movie sure as fuck isn't going to.
Dude, this is not going to be one of my favorites because we're talking about part fucking 5.
Yeah.
We're all in accordance with this. I'm just hoping
we're ready for that part?
I'm hoping that Scott doesn't come out of nowhere with my favorite movie is Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, so we can relive the Charlie's Angel debacle from olden days.
I think Scott is feeling bad enough that he's just wondering when he can get the rest of us to stop talking so he doesn't have to do this anymore.
I'm actually really excited. This is my favorite of the series.
I fucking hate you.
There it is.
There it is. Why? Because Cameron Diaz's fucking cameo is one of Freddy's fingers.
This is the Thor 2 of Nightmare movies.
Yes. Yes, it is.
All right.
Go as far to say it's the Hellraiser 3 of the series.
Oh, that's a slap.
In it though.
It's slapping.
But I have a lot of thoughts about that. We'll talk about that in the next section. Guys,
we will.
Been, closer to CreepyCon. That's coming up. Haunt season is coming up really soon. We're all very excited about that. Uh,
So excited.
Hey, Rotten Reviews has 4 sponsors, and we have a lot of work, and I can't wait to see what sponsors we will be still to come on board with us.
Oh yes.
2, 3, 5, 4. We don't need no poodle war. 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't need no noodle war.
Did you say poodle war?
I did. I said poodle that first time. We ain't need poodle wars either.
Frankie, you're opposing the wrong thing on the wrong show. You're supposed to go on Maury for the poodle war next week.
What the fuck am I supposed to do with all these fucking poodles then?
Just throw them out.
Maury filed a restraining order, so it's gonna be on you guys.
Ah, god damn it!
So no noodle war, no
pro
poodle war.
Woo!
So yeah.
Actually, it's funny. I came up with this idea for a T-shirt. There's a couple that I've made now that are "We Are Rotten," and the W is enlarged, so it looks like it says "War." And I'm gonna use that when I make the Pull Noodle War shirts, because it'll say Pull Noodle War, and then have the "We Are Rotten" going long ways over the war.
What are you gonna do for the poodle war?
I'm just gonna get me a couple of poodles and hope for the best.
We're all gonna wear poodle skirts.
You can have some of my poodles.
I don't want your poodles.
You know what? You're a bitch.
Damn.
Damn, I am a bitch.
Damn.
Ooh, girl, damn.
Ooh, girl, ooh.
Damn.
Give it a little snap.
Ooh, woo, woo, woo. Ooh, woo, woo.
Do you guys want to just spend like the next hour doing Mr. Show quotes instead of talking about this movie?
TTOMO, dog.
O-M-O.
Yeah, I'm just gonna head out.
All right. Let's go on and take that break so we can get on to the next segment.
Coming this October, as night falls on a quarantined prison somewhere in Vincent, Alabama, vampires have taken over at Hellbilly Hollow, and things will never be the same.
Come visit Hellbilly Hollow in Vincent, Alabama. You'll have the best night of your life.
Yes, we'd love to have you in our neck of the woods.
The wait is driving us batty.
This year, we've raised the stakes. Join us.
Join us. One of Alabama's top-rated haunts. This is the one for you.
Hellbilly Hollow Haunted House Attraction in Vincent, Alabama. Open at 7 p.m. every Friday and Saturday in October.
Tickets available at the door.
Exclusive merchandise, tasty concessions, live entertainment,
well-lit bathrooms.
For more information, check us out on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and at hellbillyhollow.com. And we will see you there.
Join us.
Yeah, we have to take a break, sure.
Okay. Yeah, could we take a break from talking about A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child, for forever?
Well, we could do that. But it's part of the series and is a requirement.
Are we doing Freddy's Dead? We're doing Freddy's Dead. Are we doing Freddy versus Jason?
We are.
Okay, I thought so.
And A New Nightmare.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and A New Nightmare.
And the remake.
And, man, this series is going to last forever.
Yeah, and Freddy's Nightmares.
Every episode.
Every episode in detail.
All three.
Behind the scenes. I think that's probably going to be what... Oh, hey, everyone's here. Oh, shit.
Scott and I were just discussing the future of the podcast.
Oh, yeah? So you guys going to have that baby, or?
Yeah, the Dream Child.
Oh, what a lead-in. What a fucking lead-in. Good one.
Yeah, guys.
That was way better than anything that happens in this movie.
Agreed.
So if you guys have been paying attention to the series so far, we've done Nightmare on Elm Street 1, 2, 3, and 4. So today is 5. A movie that Wikipedia describes as the 5th installment.
Oh my God. Wikipedia has a lot more to say about it than just that.
That was after I read that, I was done.
I'm wikied out. So
Wiki out.
Before we get deep into the episode, I just want to say a little bit of news that I just got. The next time we do a kettle corn review, Azazel will be joining us. Azazel is going to come down here for our next review.
Yes!
Yeah.
We love him. He's amazing.
We've already reviewed 3 different flavors of his.
Yeah.
So.
Good times.
Is he just going to stand menacingly over you while you review them and hit you over the head if you say anything bad?
I hope so. That would be so badass.
He's gonna kick all our asses if we get them wrong.
Blink twice if he's making you do this.
I'm doing it right now.
I'm just kidding. Audio medium. I hope he kills you.
Yeah.
Luckily, we have a Randy, so there's going to be no deaths from us.
I'm sorry. I hope he unalives you.
Yes. Unless Brandy unalives him.
Okay, so we're talking about Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, The Dream Child.
Yes.
Yes.
This is considered by many people one of the films.
Yes. I think Siskel and Ebert said we didn't quite get time to finish it.
Yeah. This is
that is the one point about this film that has no controversy, is that it just, it's there.
There it was.
Before we get into the numbers and the synopsis, do we kind of want to go around and just kind of give a brief what we thought about the movie?
Yeah, sure. You want to start it off so we know what vein you're going for?
Oh yeah, sure. I don't think that this was the best film of the series, but I like that this film exists, because whereas the last movie was super camp, joking Freddy, this brought the horror Freddy back. Even though it wasn't wildly successful at it, this brought horror back to the series that may have been missing, or if it had continued down the camp route, would have just gone the way of just camp. So there's really important parts of this movie. There's some silly and then also some fun deaths, but I hate that we didn't get to see all of it because of the MPAA cutting half the movie out.
Yep.
Yes.
Frankie, what do you got to say?
So you know how the Evil Dead series, like the first one's just like a straight up horror, very dark, very gritty. The second one, same deal, but they introduced some comedic elements. And then you got Army of Darkness, which comparatively is like a cartoon, but still manages to be fucking great.
Yes.
You know? Well, Nightmare on Elm Street 5 is the same logic, except all those compliments do not apply.
Yes. I'll say this about the movie. I remember the first time I saw it was at a friend of my house named Todd Powers. He was Mad Money, and they had a satellite, so we happened to watch it because they had the adult channels. And I remember seeing boobs right there in the beginning of the movie. And I'm trying to think
if you remembered anything else
that I liked in that movie.
Hey, can I interject just 1 second?
Go ahead.
One thing that I do really like about this movie is that it's called The Dream Child, and literally it begins with the conception of the dream child.
Yes. And you know that well, let's continue around the room. Grim, what is your one thing to say about this movie?
For one, there should have been a lot more death scenes. This was way too fucking low. It fucking blows my mind how low the death scenes are actually, and someone is actually saved completely. I didn't like that.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing I'm gonna say. So
Randy?
I mean, I agree with everything that's been said so far. I would like to have seen what it was supposed to be before the MPAA ripped its guts out.
Agreed.
Carrie?
I didn't like it at all. Honestly, I thought it was very rushed. But I feel like you'd expect that when they wrote the script.
Yes.
Half of it was written during the filming. So
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that. But
They were writing
shit
day
all over
by
that
day.
movie.
Every
Sorry.
single Friday,
I'm sorry.
every single Nightmare that comes out, they like go ahead and say like, "Hey, it's coming out at this time, so can we finish the movie?" And everyone gets a little bit
More
closer.
rushed.
It's more and more rushed every fucking time. And I think that when it came to this part, they were finally like, "Dude, this is like." It was the last slasher film of the 80s. All the rest of them came out in the 90s. So it's the last slasher film of the 80s. And this is what they tried to fucking do. And you made
a bang, right?
You scratch your head on why was it the last fucking slasher movie? Because the 80s was over. It was, yeah, that's it.
Oh, I get it now. Okay. Thank you for that clarification.
So, yeah.
So we're going to turn it over to Brandy for the statistics.
So, A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child, was released on August 11th, 1989. It was directed by Stephen Hopkins, and the screenplay was by Leslie Bohem. It was produced by Robert Shea and Rupert Harvey of New Line. The budget was $8 million. The box office, US only, was $22.1 million, and it made 8.1 its opening weekend, which I believe was the worst first reception it has gotten.
Now, can you read the who directed it?
Stephen Hopkins.
Motherfucker. I've done 3 days research on Stephen Hawkins and this whole black hole thing, and I was like, how the fuck
Hopkins.
Not Hawkins.
Hopkins. Fuck me.
Hopkins.
Well, there goes. Just threw away my notes.
Wait, isn't that the director of Predator 2?
Is it?
I love how Matt thinks he made notes.
I made notes this one time.
I mean, what's that all over your leg?
Yeah, those are notes. This is a B
So you
flat,
just
and this
threw
is a
away
fuck
your
you.
leg.
R.I.P.
We're supposed
I
to
will-
take care of- Come back.
Hey, you. Call
I will
911.
say this about the movie.
Dude,
Like-
I'm starting CPR. Ha, ha, ha.
God damn it,
Kayla.
Okay, sorry, Frankie. Go ahead. She's studying for a CPR class.
Oh God. This movie is a great argument for keeping abortion legal.
Agreed.
In the movie, we're supposed to believe a newly conceived fetus is dreaming and it brings Freddy back. The solution here is simple: abortion. If
You
the
know, it's
director-
interesting. It's
Listen,
interesting how it rides the line of saying a child is an actual thing, and it also is still pro-abortion, because if she would have aborted Freddie,
Her friends might be alive.
her friends might be alive. Literally
Well-
everybody
Yeah.
that Freddie had any kind of, if she would have aborted the baby, the world would have been a better place.
But you know,
well,
that
not
also
only that,
brings
I'll
us
take
back
it a
to-
step further. If the director, writer, and producers of this movie had been aborted, we wouldn't have ever had to suffer through this.
Well, honestly, it takes us back to what we said on the last one, where Alice is always very willing to throw more fodder to Freddie.
And
You think that maybe we misunderstood the power that she
The
got
Dream Master.
from the Dream Warrior at the end, from Arquette's character, is that she loves giving her friends to Freddy Krueger.
apparently all she got from Narquette in this movie was the blonde hair. I mean,
Yeah.
where
She was blonde in this one because she was supposedly becoming more
Yeah.
and more like her.
It all makes sense.
I
And
like
Dan
that
was
they
there.
continued the trend of, hey, we're going to bring back the survivor from the last movie, and they will be the first one to die.
Yes.
Perfect.
But at the same time, it was the only brought back survivor that didn't die in this film.
Was still
and
What?
she's still a shitty dream warrior.
Yeah.
I mean,
But,
she's
like,
still
to
just like, you know,
To
like
this day, even in the mythos of Freddy Krueger, Alice is technically the only final girl that ever was. She's still a final girl to this day. She hasn't been killed by Freddy.
And there's a
Yeah.
final baby.
just everybody else around her died, you know.
Yeah.
Because
Like-
she keeps throwing everybody else. Hey, look, okay, so I thought I had control, but I don't. There's this dude that kills you in your sleep, so I need you to know about him, so he'll kill you in your
They
sleep and leave me alone.
start again in this movie. They were like, "Look, if Freddy, if you know about Freddy, Freddy can get you. So we don't need to talk about it." And the very next scene, they're like, "So, anyways, Freddy
Let's
Krueger
talk
is like
more
this
about
guy."
it.
Not only that,
knocking Alice for throwing people under the bus, and then at the same breath, you're like, Alice is the only person who survived. So I'm just saying, maybe it's a good idea.
Right? Like, as long as you give your friends to Freddy, he'll be like, "Oh, you're pretty cool, bitch."
Bitch.
the swimmer, I mean, she fought against believing in Freddy, and the whole time Alice is just like, "No, dude, he's real. No, dude, he's real." Through the whole movie until finally, yeah, Freddy fucking got her, you know, and she might have been fine, you know, if Alice hadn't just kept trying to reel her in, you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let's give the synopsis of this movie real quick. You basically pick up at the end of part 4 with Alice and Dan. It implies that they are having a baby. It turns out that scene is actually another, like a stand-in woman and the guy who did the Super Freddy part, because he was standing in for Dan's body, and the actor that played Dan was like, "Hey, thanks for making me look buff like that." And yeah, stunt cock, 100%. And you progress to find out that Alice is pregnant, and she starts visiting Freddy's memories, which was an idea of one of the directors about this whole memory pond thing.
It happens right at conception.
Yeah. And Freddy starts getting an idea that resurrection could happen to him if he can feed her baby the souls. Then he could use them to like resurrect himself, basically, through the kids some kind of way. I don't fucking know. But then, of course, kills like, 3 of her fucking friends. Boo fucking who. Probably one of the first horror movies that had comic book like type imagery in them.
Which I thought was fun.
Was probably the cooler thing about this movie. But then, you know, she fucking goes, "Not my baby, not right now," and her baby's like, "Hey, Freddy, I want to go with you now." And then Freddy's like, "I'm an idiot all of a sudden, bitch." And yeah, and then the kid's like, "Boogity boo," and then they both put their babies back in their bellies. They go their separate ways, and Mary Magdalene just kind of like walls herself back up in her crypt, and fucking they say like, "Cool, I'm a single mother now. Thanks, Freddy. My whole entire support system is gone, but you know what? We'll make this happen."
That's the quickest synopsis we've had so far.
She did have her nurse friend.
Oh yeah, she still has the swimmer that dresses like a candy striper while she's working as a
Why
nurse.
even go to college or anything like that? You can just be a nurse while you're in high school.
Yeah.
As a candy striper,
Yeah.
that they suddenly give you all this training to be a nurse as a candy striper.
Yeah.
Because that makes sense.
Yeah, here's a great thing. You know what? Fucking Springwood's fucking hospital shit is like the most off the wall, crazy, also ready to go. Like
And
they
they've
are
got all these
raring.
abandoned wings
They can
every
fix
time.
anybody with anything, and they also can't even heal a guy with a cold. But Dude, this is like the most up and down healthcare of any place I've ever been.
Oh, and not only that, but fucking the hospital has no children in it. I thought that was the stupidest line in this fucking movie. What kid? There's no kids in this hospital. What the fuck?
It's funny as she said that. There was like a group of kids with balloons, like just visiting the hospital, like walking through, like, ha ha ha. And they're like, yeah, no fucking kids, bro.
Fuck those kids.
Get out of here, kids. This is a hospital. What do you think? This is a fucking library?
Maybe Freddy keeps killing them all.
Yeah. There's no kids here, and that's not suspicious.
So we have, first of all, I'd like to say that if that was the description on the back of the DVD, I probably wouldn't have rented that. Secondly,
what is the description on the back of the DVD? Hey, did you have money? We'll take it. Fuck you.
Yeah. But I'm trying to think, what's the relationship in this film to Elm Street?
Alice, just because
It's
Alice
just
is still
Alice.
connected. Dan and Alice were still connected.
Yeah, but Alice was a friend of Kristen who was on
It
Elm
doesn't
Street.
matter. At that point,
But there were no
Freddy
more Elm
realizes
Street
that he
kids.
can just feed off of any
He
group of
just needs
souls
somebody to remember.
so long as he follows the girl's power, because she has to bring the souls to him.
Oh, I know. He was hiding out in Dan's semen this whole time.
Yep.
Good
Yeah.
God.
Which is what they should have shown. They should have shown the sex scene and then shown like semen going to the egg, and one of the semen turns to the screen and it's like, I'm gonna impregnate that bitch. And then swims into the egg.
Freddy was a bitch twice.
Only
I
twice.
mean, why not? You had Freddy, baby, and that was fucking terrible. You might as well have had Freddy semen.
Freddy
Wait,
Baby was the fucking funniest,
Well, you
ghouliest
know-
looking shit.
Freddy as a baby. So the screenwriter they brought in after a couple of different revisions of this script was Leslie Bohem. That's who's credited with the screenplay. But she actually originally proposed this idea for part 3 as a baby Freddy.
I thought that
I meant he.
Baby
I
Freddy
meant he.
was Craven's thing for 3.
No. It was another writer that wanted to do it
They
like
had
that.
proposed it, yeah.
And because the producer was pregnant, she was like, I can't do that. I'm not into it. And they dropped him from the project, and then they came back to him like, oh, hey, the public's ready for that now. Let's go there. Because they couldn't make a decision on who to get to do this fucking movie. Not like there was a writer strike at this point.
No. See, what happened was they had David Show, I believe, started writing part 5 under the name Freddy Rules.
Yeah, because he was a hardcore punk deco type vibe.
And I don't know what reason they didn't like that, but New Line then hired John Skip and Craig Spector to write a new script. But then they decided that was too Kubrickian. So then they brought in Leslie Bohem to rewrite it. And they were the ones that had originally pitched the idea of Freddy as a baby for part 3.
Yep.
Didn't John and Craig have to fight to get credit for their script?
Yes, because
and
the guy wrote the script, and the people that they had like told, hey, we don't want you to write it. They gave his script to them and told them to do rewrites on the dialogue because it didn't sound right.
Well,
You know, the actors said they didn't even want to memorize their lines because they knew they'd probably just be changed on the spot.
Yeah,
right.
Not to mention the fact that Robert
Right.
Shea and the director was like, hey, we've got these big sets to build, so you're kind of going to be directing yourself in this scene, and it totally doesn't show.
Well, they totally changed even what they had for a script once they had the director and decided to base one of the characters off of Stephen Hopkins.
Yeah.
what the fuck
Scott,
was that?
did you just die?
Scott?
Come back.
Yes, so.
Because the character Mark was based on him.
All right, Scott's
No,
dead. Hopefully
baby.
this won't be like a 3-hour.
No.
It's cool, guys. I had a pretty good run.
Brady doesn't
No.
I
care.
don't care. I was giving him a minute to recover.
Yeah, are
1
you
minute.
good? Okay, so anyways, so
No, but,
right
like,
off the
you
bat,
gotta realize this film came out. This film, from the release of the last movie to this one, was like a year. So they like half-ass wrote, half-ass cast, half-ass directed, half-ass edited, this to be in the theaters within a year. We shot Fatal Cut 2 2 years ago, and we hadn't seen a single ounce of that footage.
Well, that's not true.
We saw it on
You've
Rotten
used
Graham
some of
Kids.
it in Rotten Scripts.
Not well.
Yeah, but it wasn't done well in the first place. It would be like saying, like, dude, we filmed all of Nightmare on Elm Street 5 and it hasn't released. And it was like, yeah, but it sucks.
But
Instead, they just released it.
Yeah, that's the only difference.
They rushed every aspect of this movie as it was, and you're talking about something that we rushed to just film in a day. But they were complaining that they only had 4 weeks to do this one.
Yeah.
I don't know how you spend this much time with characters in a movie that deliver this much exposition and still they make no connection on a human level. I did not give a fuck about these characters either. They were fodder.
Each one of the characters, they were just given a tropish sort of attitude.
Of characters.
The comic book guy's like, I don't like blood. That's literally his whole fucking character.
And I do like comic books.
Yeah, you figure out everything about the characters in like the first few minutes of the movie. Like,
Yep.
it's set,
That's
and
it.
you get it. You pick up on everything.
They do it at the graduation so they can be like, hey, this is the cheerleader girl. Hey, this is the comic book guy that thinks he's cool. Hey, this is the jock. All right, cool. So anyways, we've got that established. Let me show you now an hour of movie without anything else in it.
So to that point, this film feels like, to me, it feels like the sequels to Sleepaway Camp. And I say that because in Sleepaway Camp 2 and Sleepaway Camp 3, I don't know anything but death scenes. That's all I can remember. In this film, I wish I didn't remember anything but the death scenes, because there's some really innovative death scenes in this film.
And I wish they would have had more of them. If they would have had a 7-person kill count in this movie would have been fine. It could have even been 30 minutes longer. I'd be okay with that. But the amount of people they killed was just so bleh.
Well, also the kill scenes that we did see, even the coolest parts, were very limited and chopped badly.
So you start off at the very first death, which is Dan's.
Which is actually really cool looking from what you get.
You can see this Geiger-esque, like,
his death is awesome. Dan's death is awesome. That is some great body horror that is tainted by the fucking shitty robot Freddy face on the motorcycle and just the incessant shitty one-liners from Robot Freddy.
Yeah.
The
Not to mention
was fucking phenomenal though. I love the wires going into the hands.
Yes, that was
the
fantastic.
fact that scene was getting to its fucking crescendo and they cut is the most depressing fucking shit in the world.
Yeah.
This is Tetsuo Iron Man, like, for an American audience.
Yes. And it was right when the wires were about to go into his leg. It just cuts away and it's like, it drives.
MPAA?
Exactly.
And I remember when I saw this as a kid, that was the part that really stuck with me, that really fucked with me, was him melding with the motorcycle. But man, literally every time it shows, like even in the shitty, like soul tentacles thing in the very end, like the tentacle with the Dan's like cyborg motorcycle skull thing still looks badass.
No shit. And this is where you first get to really pick up on how this director does what he does. It's almost like he is like super duper interested, and they even said this, in like old school American Gothic or just straight up Gothic art. And there's so many different shots that are replications of like already famous paintings.
Yeah. Well, there were some really cool shots of this and some really cool effects. And the overall dream quality of the movie could have been much more interesting, except for the majority of the time, it just didn't make sense.
Yep. So
what was that? That was a classic Goya piece with the woman with the cartoonishly inflated face coming out of the refrigerator, wasn't it? I love that painting.
Goy, you crazy is what it is.
I don't know who Goya is.
Yeah,
That may be a yogurt for all I know.
Yeah, it was a yogurt. Really
all right, so we're still at
Dan's death cuts away right as it's getting to its crescendo, and it's basically like he fucking gets run over by a truck, and Alice is like, "Oh fuck! I just saw this guy falling into my uterus," and she knows he's just right outside in the truck, and I personally don't mind the line when Dan pops up half burnt and he's like, "Hey, Alice, want to make babies?" And then that's it. She falls out. She's like, "You know what? My boyfriend's sitting here, clearly still cognitive, not dead, fine, but in a burning car. So instead of helping him out, let me just take a nap. Fuck it."
I'm gonna take a nap.
Well,
no, she passes out, and then as soon as you're at the hospital, they've just decided to leave her in a dark room. I mean, she just suffered trauma. Just let her sleep it off. It'll be all right.
Hey, why did Dan reanimate as Freddy? Like who was dreaming to see that? If it was the baby, I don't understand how this movie works.
Well, let me explain it. When her baby went to sleep, her baby got her power of being able to put people to sleep in the daydream, but then Freddy used her power to bring the people in.
Let me clarify. It's a fetus at this point, not a baby.
That's true. Point.
Yes.
And let me just throw this in there. You all sound like madmen.
I feel like I'm trying to do trigonometry. Like this is fucking like I cannot wrap my brain around how like this scene actually fits within the rules. But I should have given up on the rules like several movies ago.
Well, the rules were never even established. They're really not, regardless of what we all believe is the iconic Freddy, the rules have not been consistent in any of these movies that we have talked about.
Let me tell you, when it comes to the rules and why this went this way, Freddy has been kind of resurging the same way in part 3 and part 4, even though part 4 was a little bit different. Every single time he gets killed by the souls that he collects. So maybe he was like, maybe I don't need to pull these souls into me. Maybe I can like contain them somewhere else, but still use the power from them. Because again, when the souls go into him, same fucking thing happens again.
But do you think if we had a consistent writer or consistent director or potentially both working together for each of these films, that the rules might have been a bit more consistent as well?
I agree, but if that would have happened, this wouldn't have been the shit stew that made a fucking, empire.
True.
Shit stews are pretty good. It works out for us.
So Dan wakes back up from being burning, or she wakes up in the hospital and she's in this dark room. For some reason, they kept the lights off. And there's all these doctors like watching her through the windows, which again, doesn't make any fucking sense. And the doctor comes in and he's like, who's going to tell her? I don't know. Who's going to tell her? Who's going to tell her? And then her friend, the candy striper's like,
let me give you your medical
Alice,
news.
you're pregnant. And she was like, oh, fuck. Yeah.
Who is squeaking a chair?
That would be me. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
That was me. I've been squeaking Frankie's chair.
He keeps shifting around in my lap.
I'm gonna cry again.
Don't do it.
Ah!
Don't do it.
Hey guys, we're gonna take a quick break and we'll come right back.
Here we go.
Bye.
Bye.
Don't go that way, man. You know who's back there? It's that serial killer from that movie.
What? Why are they here? I thought they were supposed to be chasing the kids at summer camp or invading the nightmares of the kids on that one street.
Well, they're all here. Brought in to fight off the mutant chickens, and now it's a horror free-for-all.
Oh. Where do I buy tickets?
The Haunted Chicken House in Heflin is the largest tourist attraction in East Alabama.
Open every weekend in October. Tickets are $15 per attraction, 2 for $25 and 3 for $40.
Ride the hayride of horrors.
Visit the Haunted Chicken House.
Defy death in the infamous Crazy Train.
For more information, check us out on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and thehauntedchickenhouse.com. And we'll see you there.
Yay!
I'm not.
Carrie.
I don't see a
you have to
flaky.
be here with us.
Ah!
Yeah, I'm not seeing Flaky either. He got the invite. I'll re-invite him.
Did you kill him, Scott?
Scotty!
You got the COVID.
God damn it.
Why'd you have to get the vid, Scotty?
Woo!
Mean to. So we're up to the second death?
Hold on. Can I bring up one thing?
Yes, of course.
We've so the Ghost Nun took a break in part 4. Here we are with Ghost Nun again, back in the fold, stronger than ever. And we actually get the Ghost Nun backstory here. Well, actually the events as they took place. And you have Nun with all the 100 maniacs. I know that Freddy's whole thing is supposed to be, you know, he's the son of 100 maniacs.
The best
that's
child of 100 Batman.
that's not the way Babies works. But I do think I spotted Freddy's biological father in the group of maniacs down there.
So I kind of feel like a dick because I forgot so much about 5 that I forgot that this is the second time that Robert Englund is seen without makeup. It just kind of greased his hair back.
Well,
Twice
even
in this movie. He plays 2 different characters without makeup.
Yeah.
And there's 3 different characters in Freddy makeup in this one.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, this is also like
Unfortunately.
the makeup of
Yeah.
Freddy in this time. Like, I can't say, even with the stuff that I read that other people say about it, I can't say that I thought it was horrible, but I did very much notice a marked difference. Like, the shape of Robert Englund's face is much more clear in this movie than any of the others that I can remember.
Also, another offhanded thing was this is the first time that they tried to start their own Mandela effect by changing the last line in the Freddy song to 910, he's back again.
Yeah.
That irritated the shit out of me, actually.
Yes.
What was it?
I will always hear that as never sleep
My
again.
kid even got pissed off about that.
Yeah, she did. She goes, that's not the right song.
Yeah, that was it. I'm trying to remember who he played. The other character where he plays without his makeup on in this one. But they didn't have.
Did it in the
Was it in
female
one of the
makeup last
drains?
time, and he was the driver in something. And
And the pool, it was like a pool drain at one scene. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's.
Oh, guys, this is fun.
Yes.
So anyway. So we've gone to the first death is in the banks, as it were. And she saw him, of course, fall into her uterus. That's kind of a big thing. The uneg imagery in it.
She's pregnant.
Finds out she's pregnant.
Freddy says, it's a boy!
Yeah.
Bitch.
It's a boy, bitch!
Then his mom shows up and scares him off.
Yeah. And then
Yay.
Dan parents like come to her and they're like, sweetheart, I believe you're losing your fucking mind. Can we have that sweet, sweet little baby?
Well, hasn't she already met the kid at this point by the time the parents
Well,
get
yes,
to
in the
her?
hospital, she sees the fucking Haley Joel Osment of the past come up and be like, my name's
Oh, man.
Jacob, bro. I'm a goth like the guy in part 2.
And again, their idea of making this ghost story-esque is the whole conversation afterward where her friend is like, well, there's no kids in this hospital.
Yeah.
Then after she meets Jacob, she tells all her friends about Freddie, and no one believes her, but they're being super supportive anyway because she's crazy.
But if they hadn't believed her, would there have been anybody else for Freddie to infect and get in their dreams other than Alice and her kid?
Well,
So
I mean, the
she
swimmer made it a long time.
Pretty much.
What?
The swimmer made it a long time. I mean,
Yeah.
and she was the one that just would not bend. She was like, nope, you're crazy. This is not fucking real. There is no dude.
Mark joins in, the comic book guy, even when he joins in saying, no, this is real. Look, I've seen him. She still wouldn't cave.
But again, as you say, like, dude, she was the one taking the right path. And this, they're like, hey, guys, here's a great little introspective thing about life.
Don't listen to your friends.
Don't ever listen to your friends.
Point taken. And Greta dies. The one that the mom's like, you're going to be a famous role model.
Yeah.
The reason that girl got the job is because she was one of the few actresses that were willing to be ugly. Because they had a lot of different really pretty actresses that came in for the role, and they were like, hey, when this is all said and done, we're going to make you like really ugly. And they were like, oh, I don't want to be ugly on scene. I only want to be pretty. And when she showed up, she was like, dude, the nastier the better. And they were like, you get the part.
And this is like one of those scenes where apparently, because I love the way part pieces of this scene are.
This made
like,
me think of Beetlejuice. So
yes, 100%. But it's also an example of Alice not just infecting her with you're gonna know about Freddie now, but infecting her with the ability of like daydreaming, because she is still at this dinner party, but asleep, but not asleep, because she's dreaming these different reactions from these people and this conversation with her mother that it doesn't look like actually happened once it gets to the other part of it.
But then that's the question, like, did this chick fall asleep at the table and they let her sleep for a while and then she choked on her food that she had in her throat?
Or is she daydreaming
the whole time
like
she was
Alice?
asleep?
I don't know, but the way she stood up and started coughing and moving her arms, I fucking died. And not only that, she did something I seen Carrie fucking do in a TikTok, and I died. It was so fucking funny.
But the prosthetics they give her for the way her face is blowing up, like
It's literally the same prosthetics they used on Alice in Part 4 for her to look old.
Well, yeah, true, exactly. It's got to be. But the fact that they were able to make her look like the smashed porcelain doll that she had earlier, that was really neat. And so there was one interesting thing I found out about this, like the prosthetic cheeks that she had to wear for this. So the whole time they were filming it, she could only eat through a straw, and she got so hungry that she decided to try to eat the spaghetti that had been made on set that day, and the sauce dripped down into the chin part of her prosthetic and had to stay there all day long.
I could not.
Were you trying to say, were one of you guys trying to say something?
We were talking about spaghetti. Why isn't Frankie talking?
Imagine an ant getting in there.
I see what you did there.
Every time we say spaghetti.
See, I'm not Italian anymore, so that doesn't work.
Damn it.
Wait, Carrie said something. What'd you say?
Fuck you, Ancestry.com.
About an ant.
Carrie's talking about ants. I'm for it.
Yeah, that actually after that experience where she had that spaghetti sauce in that appliance, and after going around with it all day and just smelling it all day, she hasn't ever had heavy appliance work done in any movie since.
Oh wow.
If she had just tried to snack on some spaghetti flavored popcorn, she wouldn't have had any gross spaghetti sauce in her prosthetic.
True.
You're not wrong.
That's true.
But,
that is one of the scenes, and I'll probably say that about all the scenes, but that is one of the scenes that everybody on set was like super happy with how much they got filmed and like how cool it was. And then when the movie came out, they're like, well, that was about a second and a half. Where's all the cool footage?
Yeah,
Right.
where'd the
They
footage
also,
go?
not only did they cut out a lot of the graphic parts of all of these death scenes, but they cut out a lot of the dialogue and the laughter of the people at the dinner table too.
Yep.
Like they didn't want people laughing at death. They thought that was bad for some reason. They took out a lot of Freddie's laughter in Dan's scene too, not just the graphic parts.
Maybe they were because they knew how shitty the stop motion animation was going to be in the refrigerator scene later.
Yep.
That was fucking terrible. Like, what happened there? Why did somebody make the decision to have so much stop motion animation in this?
That was actually the director who is he's a big fan of stop motion, and he's like, man, CG, because like this film was this film, this was the last slasher film of the 80s, and this was like the peak of like latex appliances, like physical effects, and
right before CG started fucking taking it all over.
Yeah.
And so he wanted all that stop motion. He wanted all those physical effects, and that's why people are like building shit, and they're having to tell them to shut up because we're trying to film. They're like, "Well, we're trying to get the next scene ready." Oh, okay.
Yep.
So did they spend all of the budget, like except for like $300, and they were like, oh shit, well, we got to hire a stop motion animation guy. Who can we get for $300?
Well, it is kind of amazing that they did use so much stop motion animation, because we all know at least a little bit about how long that takes. And the fact that they only had 4 weeks to make this movie meant that while they were writing it on set day by day as they went, they were still filming in one set location while everybody else involved with the project was setting up the next film location, and they were writing it in between as they moved.
The fucking stop motion animation in the green jelly video for Three Little Pigs blew this out of the water. Like,
okay, I'm not going to disagree with that.
Yeah, but like, to be fair, the diving board stop animation was actually pretty good.
It was totally talking to Evil Dead.
And
the actor
not only that, but
he was actually sick the whole day.
Oh yeah, she had
Yvonne.
Yvonne, yeah, she had food poisoning, I believe, when they filmed that.
Holy shit.
That's like
maybe she was just sick because she remembered all the good movies that she was in.
Honestly, that's a good point.
There's like so many cursed things though. Like, she's doing a diving scene and she's got like food poisoning, and then like the girl, the model, she can't eat, so she eats spaghetti, and now she's smelling spaghetti the whole time, so she's super discomfortable.
I mean, they literally had all the signs.
Alice had when she's giving birth, she's like on her period, and she's shooting this because I'm having some trouble. And it's just movies that just cursed.
But so you get the diving board scene, which is definitely an Evil Dead reference. It looks exactly like the bridge. Mark happens after that. She comes out and he goes after Mark.
Well, after Greta dies, Mark starts to believe her or whatever. Yvonne doesn't, but then there's the "Take on Me" song.
Yeah, but I think
yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, Yvonne gets taken into the dream first.
No, because she still doesn't believe it. After Mark tells her and says, I was attacked by him last night, she still doesn't believe any of it.
But then Alice gets Yvonne out of the dream. And then Freddie goes after the kid because Alice wasn't even thinking about him.
But Mark
she had to be put to sleep
with him first
to save Yvonne.
But Mark
was there to watch. I know that. I understand that. That he smashed his hand on the glass.
Yeah.
He remembered it because that was the little dream that he had. So he was broken out of that dream too, but he got cuts on his hand.
Yes.
Hey, you know what would have been funny? Like if, when Alice draws her stick figure and writes Alice above it, so she'll go inside his dream. If when she appeared in his dream, she was stick figure Alice.
That would be so badass.
Yes, that would have been awesome.
And they definitely did like Grim was saying,
Take on Me.
Yeah, the Take on Me.
And that video had
on
come
me.
out 4 years prior to this, and it was
Yeah.
definitely that
Aha.
animation, definitely Aha's, like a ripoff of Aha.
It was a great video, though.
But
And hey, the door is red in this one, Matt.
exactly, it's red in all of them, Frankie. I don't understand why you keep bringing attention.
Well, no, not really. No, all
That's
but one.
fine. You just be
Oh, but
against
did you see
you
Mr.
be against
Mylan's
poodles as
video?
much as you need to be.
I want to say something about this
Because
paper shredder. This paper shredder death scene, because it's kind of neat, but specifically about Super Freddy, which isn't a thing.
Yeah.
One, he has a lightning bolt on his shirt because his shirt caught on fire from a squid.
Yeah, but wait, the kid's character was named
Mark.
No, his comic book character is something
Phantom.
Oh, I wrote
Was
it down somewhere.
The Phantom Stranger or something. Anyway, one of the Phantom brothers.
Yeah, one of the
Yes.
Phantom brothers.
Wally
literally looked
Phantom.
it up, but I
everybody
can't remember
says-
now. But
everybody's
anyway,
like, he's more like Super Shredder, and I'm like, no, this looks like the gangster villain from The Mask.
yeah,
Phantom Prowler.
the Phantom Prowler, the
Which
shittiest
sounds like-
name for a superhero. It
Yeah, that
sounds
doesn't
like a
sound like
super
a
villain.
hero. It sounds like a villain.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
That's
you're a
actually
bird.
that's actually Freddie Cooper's pet name for me. So
Well, I'm so proud of you guys.
No, it cuts him up into freaking little
Yay.
paper shreds. What the fuck? Where's the blood? Where's the
And then
Okay,
like
so
the
there was
color
supposed to
pours
be-
out of him.
One
Yeah,
of the
but
things
it
the
wasn't-
MPAA cut off was part of the scene where he like decapitates him and his actual head goes flying away from the paper. But the MPAA cut that part out.
Still a memorable death scene, though.
Yeah,
Yes.
because of Super Freddy and because of, you know, his superheroes basically has a villain's name and his superpower is I have 2 9mm and that's it.
Yeah, well, we've already established dream powers aren't a thing. And then secondly, all of the Dream Warriors suck.
yeah,
All
it's not
Dream
that
Warriors-
they're not a thing; it's that they're all useless.
Yeah, the Dream Warriors suck because this is like some stoner ass like comic book kid that's like, well, I could probably do like a Dream Warrior thing. And he didn't even know. He just did it.
Did they
What a
not?
bunch of dicks.
Did they not?
He
read
was
the
inspired by the broken doll of the girl he loved that was heavily foreshadowed earlier.
Yeah,
That's
I
about the
love
most-
that.
The fact that this is also the character that was based off of the director.
Yeah. And I literally love the fact that the girl who got stuffed, you know, the pretty girl, is his girlfriend, and it is the least talked about thing in the whole fucking movie. Like, unless you catch some of the conversation, you would not assume that they were boyfriend and girlfriend at all.
Yeah. Again,
Were
how
they?
do you have that much exposition and you don't establish anything? Like,
Yes. They were boyfriend and girlfriend. That was the connection loss when Freddie was able to get him because it was his girlfriend. Because the fucking director was doing his little like on the script.
Wow.
Well, he actually is the one that drew out all the storyboards for this too in comic book format.
I think at some point, Mark was supposed to be goth with like black hair and be all extra broody.
But they decided
Yeah.
to model him after the director instead.
And he got like Hawaiian shirts and colorful things.
And I believe
Blonde
that actor is also the same one that said he refused to memorize the script anymore because it changed every day.
But,
So he didn't want to memorize his
also,
lines.
He passes out at the sight of blood during most of the movie.
Yes.
Like that's his.
But that's his main character
that's his
trait.
only
That's
thing
his
he can do.
character. That
And
is
he-
comic
the
books.
very end.
He literally
Of his
fell
part.
asleep in a dream. Like, they try so hard to make this an Inception movie because when Alice goes into the dreams of her kid, she's then able to go into the dreams of Freddy Krueger. And the comic book kid can actually fall asleep in a first layer of dream and enter a second layer of dream, because that doesn't make any fucking sense.
No.
I think there was a lot of times where there was a dream within a dream.
With
a dream.
Yeah.
And the
Like
even
her
the
waking
parts,
up and then Eden living
Yep.
right there. Like,
Yep.
well, even the parts where you're fairly certain they're all awake, but you're not really sure, it all seems to have this like dreamlike reality to it. Like even her waking up in the hospital with all the people staring in at her, surrounded by windows to this one hospital room. Like, what?
Every single
What is
shot in this
this?
movie seemed like it was a part of the dream.
Yes.
Every single shot in this movie sucked.
Yes,
sucked.
Carrie pooping on the movie again.
I was trying to edit something with the trailer for this movie earlier, and I realized every scene in this movie is just like purposefully super dark. They had the blue filter on in a lot of the shots, and this is just a dark movie. But
do you think that subconsciously it's because they didn't want anybody to see it?
Yeah, that's
Well, even Bob Shea, the head of New Line for all of these movies, has been quoted as saying Part 5 was lame.
Yeah.
Some more.
As a beloved series, the Nightmare on Elm Street series, this is not the best film, but you compare the worst films of other iconic series, this is still pretty.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that. But at the same time, if you watch the new Halloween and go like, all right, that's Michael Myers, it's a good lineage, yabba yabba yabba. But in the end, if you took Michael Myers out of it, it would have been a fucking garbage movie.
Yeah.
Like good movies, you can sub out the main bad guy and sub anybody in, and it still works because it's established.
Yeah.
But if you took Freddy out of this fucking movie, it would have been Who Gives a Fucking Rat's Ass. It would have been another Brain Scanners, which was trying to rip off this movie.
Yeah. That's fair.
Well, with Halloween Kills, a lot of the reason why it was bad is because you took Laurie Strode and benched her. And like without a compelling protagonist to go up against Michael Myers, there's just nothing. And I think that's what's happened with the last two films in this series. Like there's nobody really going up against Freddy until the end when it's almost like, oh, we got to button it up. Okay, she can kill him now.
Yeah.
It's not
and
like
then in this one, she was too weak to do shit, even though technically she had the souls of her friends inside of her, giving her power.
But they're inside of her kid.
But if she goes into her kids' dreams, then they share all that
been
shit.
Named ostensibly by Freddy.
Freddy Krueger named that kid, and she was like, "I'm good with that."
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. The whole thing.
Why don't we call him Jacob Bitch?
She should have aborted that little freaking brat. Like, he was in the fucking... She decided she was going to keep him, and then he starts yelling at her, "You don't care about me!"
He's literally in his emo phase in the fucking womb. It's not going to get much better than that.
No.
I think that pro-lifers need to watch this movie.
Yeah.
He looks like a little like Omen kid too. Like
Yeah. There were so many ripoffs of other horror movies in this that it borderlined on parody at some moments.
He was just in there sapping in all the coffee.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that we do have a revisit of Ghost Nun, but that this Ghost Nun is younger than the previous Ghost Nun. So
This is pre Ghost Nun.
Yeah.
Ghost age in reverse.
The other thing is that I always kind of found really interesting. First of all, when Freddy's back, he has a really long arm for no reason. But
yeah, and like his arms cut off and tied back together because there was the scene where she broke his arm off.
I think it was he had a long arm. The first one was the left arm. It was super fucking long, and then he had like freaking long ass toe claws.
Well, wasn't that
and then
supposed to
the
be
other scene with his arm? It was the right arm that was really fucking long. It was when he was standing next to Jason.
This is all about Long Freddy, because when Freddy was like stuck inside of her, he had these like super long thighs that went like a foot away from her body and 3 feet out of the back of her.
Yeah.
Okay, and about that, like they're just standing there, Alice and Jacob, and Jacob's like, "Hey, Freddy's been inside you this whole time. That's how he's been doing this." And she's just like, "Okay, well, I'll just go ahead and pull him out then."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an
You
option.
mean I could have done that all along?
Shit.
If I had known. The other thing that was really weird to me was that, like, they purposefully made Freddy older in this film, but this is his rebirth, so he should technically be younger, not
You would
older.
imagine.
But you would imagine wrong.
But like, okay, so they surmise that in the end, Freddy's like weakness is the nun. And Yvonne's like, I'm gonna go and find that nun. Why do I start thinking about to that fucking Balky movie? None of that nun. But why the fuck is it that ghosts are just like sealed up with like stone? Like, oh fuck, their ghost is in this room and the stone is keeping them in there.
Also supposed to be the same place as the sanitarium that they were just in like 2 years prior to this.
Where all those kids died and they were like, oh
Yes.
dude, we gotta shut this fucker down. But they kept it like some kind of
And it
medieval
looks like
castle.
and it looks like it's been abandoned for like 100 years. And
Robert
she's
Shea
walled
said,
up in
every
this
time I
room as a
hire somebody
skeleton."
European to write a script, it's fucking gargoyles and Catholic or Gothic cathedrals.
But something I wanted to remind you guys that pissed me the fuck off was that a doctor called and released information on Alice's baby to the grandparents.
To Dan's
Tan's
parents. Yeah.
That pissed me the fuck off. You're not supposed to do
That
that.
would not happen.
Because again, Elm Street has
Even
a
with
fucking
them being
bullshit
rich.
health code, and none of their doctors take the Hippocratic Oath.
And they
None of
don't
them.
have any kids. So, hey, all the kids are dead.
They don't treat kids.
All the
No kids
are
in this
dead.
hospital. All the kids are dead.
Okay, so was that the doctor that did the ultrasound?
Yes.
All right, so in his defense, like his line where he just straight up asks Alice, "Are you asking me if your baby is dreaming or having nightmares?" That is the only logical response to this movie. So kudos to him.
Fine, he gets a few points for being
gets A
logical,
points. He gets
but gets
A
a lot of
points.
points taken away from breaking the
But, like-
Hippocratic Oath.
Well, yeah, but even way before that, he was also making the comments when she first wakes up in the hospital. It's basically like, oh, well, she's just suffering from hysteria. She's a girl.
Hey, Frankie, can you guess?
Girls get
Can you
like
guess
this.
what the Hippocratic Oath is?
Thank you very much.
No. It's a friend with weed is a friend indeed. I figured we were still making Mr. Show references.
Oh my god.
Oh, okay, that's what that was.
Hey, I do want to point out one thing too about this series. This ends the dreams. Going forward, we have it's just nightmares after this. We had the Dream Warriors, the Dream Master, and the Dream Child, and that's it. No more dreams after this one.
That is true.
And it was a steep downhill roll between each of those steps. So maybe it was for the best.
I literally can't wait to talk about part 6. I love part 6.
What is that? Freddy's Dead?
Yes, Freddy's Dead is just all over the fucking place. It is so fucking wacky.
No, Freddy's Dead is
the next one.
New Nightmare is 7.
Yes.
And then we think Freddy versus Jason is 8.
Freddy versus Jason would be 8.
8. Yes.
Yeah.
So Amanda, the sister of the nun, her remains, was that a skeleton or was she a ghost?
Yep.
Okay. That answers my question on how the clothes were being held up. I was okay. Thanks. Bye.
She was as much skeleton and ghost as Freddy was when he kicked their ass as just bones.
So a hybrid.
Okay, so she pushes Freddy out of her body, and then she fucking proceeds to like fall to the ground, completely unable to do anything. Which like great idea pulling him out. Where were you gonna go with that one? And then the nun that was released from the stone barricade with windows goes in there and goes, hey little kid, hey, pretend like you're Freddy.
You can.
And then he's like, oh, well, that'll be really easy. Hey, dad, bitch. Like, I want to go and learn how to kill things. And then she's like, now do it. And he spits light at him. Like, why did he have to convince Freddy of that? Like, she could have just shot him at any point.
Jacob was like, thanks for your help, Grandma.
Yeah. And then, of course, the thing that has killed Freddy in the past 2 films, that the souls start to rip them apart. Like, they went that direction again. And it kind of looks like they're all Madball versions of their death scenes.
Yeah, they found a way to make it even worse. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And by the way,
you kind of ran pretty quickly over the part where she's pulling Freddy out of her. They're splitting in half, whatever.
And the Escher.
That is actually they actually used a quadriplegic actor for that the filming of that, and she had to hold him up while she separated. That was all really physical effects, and a lot of the cast was like, this is one of the craziest things we've ever seen. We actually got someone without legs to be able to shoot this.
Yeah. And he had 4-foot long thighs.
No, that's not okay.
The rating goes from a 0 to a 2 out of 10.
Yeah. But they immediately follow that up by ripping off Labyrinth and doing the Escher scene very shot for shot along the last scene in Labyrinth, with her and him running around. And
back to 0.
It doesn't make any.
You remind me of the Babe.
Yes.
Yes.
It doesn't make any sense that Dan comes out of a door and he's like, Jacob, come with me. And for a second, Alice is like, oh, no, that's good. That's Dan. And then she realizes it's Freddy because Freddy still unfurls his glove just in Dan form. And he's like, wait a minute, only Freddy would open his hand like that. Get out of there.
Okay, so talking about the Escher quality of these scenes, Robert Englund has also even said that the toughest scene he has ever had to film was hanging upside down from those stairs.
Yes.
His blood is rushing to his head. They're having to come and hold him up after every cut.
Yeah. And there are so much easier ways to film that scene. Because they literally did it in Labyrinth, and it was fine.
Mm-hmm.
What a shit show.
Yeah, I'm kind of exhausted from just talking about and we didn't even cover half of the shit that I wrote down.
Yeah.
Well, if there's anything you want to throw down that got missed, please.
Oh no, I mean, great product placement with the Pepsi cans there at the end.
Right?
At the little picnic, that was nice that they saved the product placement for the very, very end instead of the very, very beginning.
Did you notice that was even a painting? It was the famous dot painting where the people are in the park. There were so many shots that were literally set up the way a famous person's painting was.
I don't believe in paintings.
I didn't catch that. You guys brought that up. I'll have to go back and check some of those side-by-side comparisons.
The castle, the dot, the Escher, the comic book technically still falls under that heading as well, but it's not a famous artist. It's a comic book artist.
Right.
But there was a lot where he was drawing references from different already existing pieces of art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there were so many different references to other horror movies of that time.
Yeah.
I just think that in the film Cemetery Man, there is a The Lovers by Renee Magritte, and it is like one of my favorite shots.
Yeah.
So I actually appreciate stuff like that.
Hey,
Well, then you
Scott,
should definitely go back and check that out.
Yeah, I will.
I want you to
Yeah.
have to watch that shitty ass movie again. If you think COVID's bad, just wait.
Yeah, I won't do that.
Scott.
Yeah.
Have you seen Stage Fright?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, it was made by the same guy that made Cemetery Man. And I've been thinking about that. We should do a good movie like that instead of doing some other bullshit like this.
It was made by Michelle.
What did you say?
You said it was made by Michelle Suave?
Cemetery Man?
Cemetery Man was.
Yes, Stage Fright was also.
Huh.
It's a slasher film.
I haven't seen that. I thought I had seen his whole catalog, but I'll go check that one out.
And if I'm wrong about that, I apologize. But I'm pretty sure.
Well, guys, is there anything else we need to make sure that people who have stuck around?
Yeah, does anybody have any notes that they want to add in?
I just
with
wrote.
With the bike scene, you can see Freddy on the license plate. Oh, well, the tag.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then when Alice and Mark are looking through the pile of newspapers, for a moment, the camera is set on an article regarding Amanda Kruger's death. And in that article, the producer, Robert Shea, is actually quoted as saying, "She was a victim of the evil within us all. I hope she will know peace in the life hereafter."
I didn't know that. That's fucking
That's
amazing.
badass. Yeah.
I love it.
A victim of the evil within us all. The hell?
Yeah, I'm pregnant with Freddie too.
God damn.
Thanks, Supreme Court.
Well, guys.
Well, you're stuck with it now.
I know, right? Oh well, bitch. No, he's affecting me. I must be asleep.
No,
that's the worms.
No, that movie definitely is not a movie to start believing in Freddy in, because I know a lot of people that watched it fucking fell asleep.
Like me. Hello. Oh my gosh, look, that's us.
Whoa!
This is debatable whether 5 or 2 is people's least favorite.
Is Frankie dead?
Yep, Frankie was done talking.
Bye, Frankie.
Frankie, come home.
But yeah, so this was Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5. Part 2 was better than this movie.
That's fair.
Part 2 made more of a point about, because it's still like underscore this other thing. There is no redeeming quality to Part 5 other than the artistic like scene design and shit like that.
There were some great shots and some great scenes, but and maybe it's just a result of everything that was cut out of it, but the overall plot was full of nonsensical holes.
Yeah.
Lots of holes.
Well, guys, tune in next week where we will be covering Nightmare on Elm Street Part 6.
Oh, I love Freddy's Dead.
And hang on one second. Let me see if we can get Frankie back in here to say goodbye to everybody.
Get the weatherman back in here.
I know that that's what people are clamoring for.
What are you doing?
I'm done.
Come back too.
No!
We love you. We need
explosion.
It doesn't look like I can get Frankie back on here, so we're just gonna... Oh my God!
This is awkward.
Yeah, it's awkward.
So yeah, stick with us next weekend. We'll have a better movie. I love Freddy's Dead. Great fucking movie.
Good.
I wish I had some points to assign. I mean, I've been doing that the past few episodes and giving God status, and I don't think there's anybody that fits the bill.
Well, you did give the doctor a point for saying, like, you think your kid's having nightmares.
That's 1 point. I mean, that's hardly like what God has 1 point. Like,
yeah, but if you always give everybody God status, it removes the value of the God status.
I guess I'll give all the points to the nun.
None of that nun.
None.
She spent the whole movie playing hide and seek again. Like, it doesn't, like, why? I don't know.
Why in the hell was it? In one scene, Freddy's walking down the hallway and he does like the vanish reappear thing. That never happens again. There's no fucking reason for it.
Yeah.
Why in the fuck was every tunnel a uterus that led to like way too like on point like holes? Why the fuck was this so over sexual without being sexual at all?
Do you think that they wanted this to be, I know we've joked about this a lot, but do you think that they wanted this movie to be a message about abortion?
I don't know, because even when they talk about it, they're like, they say, yes, this is definitely a sort of pro-abortion thing, because I mean, if she would have aborted the kid, and they kind of reference that. But if you remember, she was found, she tried to kill herself, and then they took her in and were like, hey, we're going to deliver your baby, and she died from having birth. So who the fuck put her in the damn tower like little tiny lizard baby Freddy, which technically wasn't. He was just a normal kid that grew up. Because if he came out looking like cephalopotic, then that probably would have been it for him. I mean, they have a really shitty healthcare system in Elm Street, and they don't let kids in that hospital. So, I mean, technically, he was already breaking the law.
Maybe that's the true origin of Freddy, since they don't have a children's ward in that hospital. They just kind of threw him out the back door.
Yeah, they're like, "Hey, get the fuck out! Do you have a pass? No, get out of here, kid. This is a hospital, not a library."
Even the director for this one cannot watch this movie, and it doesn't even seem like he was extremely proud of his work before it was cut. But he has been quoted as saying that, you know, it was a rush schedule without a reasonable budget. And after he finished it, New Line and the MPAA came in and cut the guts out of it completely. But his own words are that what started out as an okay film with a few good bits turned into a total embarrassment that he can't even watch.
I mean, I'm embarrassed for him.
I wish somebody would keep the other fucking footage and they release like a master cut of it.
Well, supposedly at least a couple of the bigger scenes you can see on the original release of the VHS. But that's still not all of it.
Not the American release though.
Right.
But there is a YouTube channel called Decensored, and it has some of the footage. Never Sleep Again got a couple of pieces of that footage as well, and that's the only places that, as of June of 2022, all of those scenes still have not been released.
And I know
there's also not a lot of people who are like beating down the door, like, man, 5 was so good, give us more of it.
Yeah, no shit. I know earlier we kind of glazed over this, but I wanted to say this again. Thank you so much to Mr. Marlin for not only listening to the show, but like he made a little TikTok that was Fuzzy Pants like painting the door red. It's genius, and it's like it's heart moving that not only does he listen, but he goes out of his way to show us that he's paying attention, and we love the shit out of it.
In his post, if you know you're listening.
Fucking love you, Mr. Marlin.
He makes commercials for our podcast for people that have no clue who we are, and he makes great commercials.
Yes.
And most importantly, he acknowledges that the door was blue in the first one. So
you can go to hell and acknowledge that it was not blue.
He fixed it.
You're an asshole.
Now, he fixed it for you. He did you a favor, buddy. I mean, I would paint the door
Before
for
Freddy
you.
even lived there. If you pay close attention, there's still a lease in the fucking door.
How do you not get that?
Come on.
Mandela effect.
I kind of want to wrap up on this one thought, and it's this. This series could have ended with 5 very easily, and the way that you end that in a very nice bow is when the Freddy child is born and grows to be a young man, you then send him off to the new janitor of Springwood.
Yeah.
And that ends his cycle.
Yeah.
The
I think it would have been a better ending if when
Jacob.
little Freddy Krueger popped out of her womb, she just like stepped on him like a moth.
Drowned him in a 5-gallon bucket of pee.
She just beat him to death with a wire hanger.
Ooh, too soon.
Sucked him out with a vacuum? I don't know how to follow that up.
Well, the episode got weird.
Oh, it's been weird. This movie sucked. Hopefully we brought some levity to it.
But we had a lot to say about it.
This movie sucks. 0 out of 10.
So yeah, guys, that's been this episode of what the fuck, Rotten Mornings, I think the name of the show is.
Join
Something
us
like
next
that.
week for
Freddy's Dead.
Yes.
A good movie.
The final.
Yay. Better days are coming.
Stay rotten,
You don't have to
guys.
poop so
Stay
much.
rotten.
Stay rotten.
Stay rotten.
Stay rotten, Cotton.
Okay.
Love you, bye. Stay rotten.
Join us next time for another episode of Rotten Mornings.